What's up, guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2010 Subaru Impreza WRX STI. Up front is a 2.5-liter turbocharged flat 4, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be reviewing this STI because this, to me, is the quintessential STI. From this era, in hatchback form, this is the one. This is it. And I've reviewed this generation of STI before, but never the hatchback. And so finally, I get to impress my junior high self into finally driving one of these and sharing with you how great it is. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2.5-liter turbo flat 4. Well, that is what made the STI so great. There were plenty of other things as well, but that was sort of the crown jewel. It made 305 horsepower, and I am enjoying most of that horsepower here today. However, it is very slippery out, and so I think some of this car's rally DNA is gonna come out during this video. But that's okay, we welcome that. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Shifts wonderfully, feels great, even though this has 170,000 miles on it, has been rebuilt, and that motor has been replaced as well. So it's driving like new. Might not look new, but it feels new, and I just adore it. It's so precise. It's such a handshake deal. When you get it into gear, it is so incredibly lovely. And the sound that it makes, that flat 4 growl, yeah, that ain't too shabby either. And last but not least, of course, it is all-wheel drive. This came with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, but we also had a couple different diff options that we'll talk about a little bit later on. How does it feel to drive the WRX STI hatchback from 2010? It's great. It honestly fulfills everything I really wanted this car to do. It's so engaging, it's so fun, it's still nimble, and it has character to it that you don't really find in other vehicles. I like the modern WRX. In manual format, 2.4 turbo, it's a great car, but it doesn't have any personality. It's hard to differentiate that car from anything else that's turbo and manual. It's just all kind of amalgamated together, but this had a signature to it. Maybe it's that sound, maybe it's the selectable diff settings, but something about it is just so personal and so unique of a driving experience that I can't find anything else on Marketplace that's really going to fulfill what this car fulfills. And that is a very healthy spot to be in as a car. It has its own identity. Down into second. Oh. Oh. I am not opening the window today because it's about 10 degrees outside, but I hope you heard what I was hearing. And just that all-wheel drive really gives you confidence. It's slushy and quite frankly outside today, but this doesn't care. It munches it up. It says, give me more, give me more. And I'll oblige. I'll oblige. I'll oblige it every day of the week. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is a giant STI tachometer. Love that. And off to the right is my little speedometer because, well, that don't really matter anyway. On the steering wheel, we do get things like volume and mute and skip track. And off to the right, we do have cruise control, which is interesting because this is a special edition. So let's talk about that. The special edition, when it launched, was basically a stripped out version of the STI. So it got things like halogen headlights instead of the HIDs. It had very minimal features. The seats are manual. They're not heated. So things like that to really try to make it the most performance-oriented version that they could. And so to see cruise control is nice. Not always a given. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, our gauge dimmer switch, and power mirror switch. And moving out of the door, we have our latch to get in and out, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do get a little information gauge up at the top. We have our time and temperature. Then we have the radio itself, very plain CD player, but that's it. No screen. Screens were starting to come into cars in this era, and so they avoided that for the added weight and keep the price down. 2 climate vents, and then we have our climate controls. This also incorporates the hazard switch, and I like it. Where to send it off to the left, fan speed in the center, temperature off to the right. That's all you need. That's all you'll ever need. Then we do get a cubby with a 12-volt outlet. We get an STI badge, and we get the shifter. Now, the shifter is a 6-speed. There's a little collar underneath the shift knob. This is to get it into reverse. That's the reverse safety lockout. Most Subarus of the era did this. And then we have our fun buttons. So we do have our Sport and Sport Sharp drive modes, which this is on a Cobb Stage 1. So that is boosted just a little bit. And then we have our auto and manual and our center diff adjustment. So as I mentioned, you can actually adjust the center differential, which is fantastic and something you don't really get in modern cars. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And I am so incredibly pleased to tell you that the 2010 Impreza WRX STI passes the big friggin' bottle test. So when you're out on the rally stage, when you're doing your own version of Gymkhana, you get to bring a big friggin' bottle. Then we do get an armrest and the seats. The seats are comfortable, but they are manual. They're not heated. They're nothing special. They are designed to hold you within the car, and that is all they promise you to do. They've been fine enough, but honestly, these were probably mostly swapped out for Recaros or things like that, so they're pretty uneventful from there on out. However, speaking of seats, this is the hatch, and we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting into the back of the 2010 STI hatch. Stepping in. I'm not expecting much, and I don't get a whole lot, but my knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. This is my driving position. These cars are not super large, but I am able to fit back here. We don't get a center console. Weight savings, I guess. We have these nice like inserts in the seats. This is sort of like a leather. This is sort of like an Alcantara style, and I like it. You know, you are able to fit 4 people back here relatively comfortably. I'm not complaining being back here. 5'11", not a small guy. Knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. Head's not hitting the ceiling. I don't have many amenities beyond that, but I fit back here, and I am going to take that to the bank today. That is a big win. In these sport hatches, hot hatches, whatever you want to call this, it's not always a given. So, big win for the 2010 STI hatch. But let's take a look at that hatch, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, coming around the back of the Impreza STI. And there you go. That is the rear hatch. Now, obviously, not only does this open up a lot more space than the standard sedan STI, but it looks great. It's very, very functional and just makes this car that much more livable with. You can pull this up. We do get a spare tire and some extra things like that. So very, very cool. But this made this car extra attractive to people with families, like 1 kid, things like that. You know, you take your significant other to the dealership and you go, oh, you know, I really want that sports car, but maybe this is a happy medium. That's what this hatch was able to do. Like I said, I think it looks tremendously better. I just overall love that rear look. That to me, like, is so perfect. And I love it. So the rear hatch is a big point of that, but let's talk about the looks. Now we gotta talk about the looks. And first of all, this white paint is special for the special edition, but mainly I love how proportional this car is. I love the proportions of this car. I think it's so handsome. I think it's so dignified. And even 16 years after its release, it still looks good. It still captures my attention. There's still a spark between me and the STI. And I can't say that about all 16-year-old cars, but this one, still friggin' good. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving, finally, the WRX STI hatch from 2010? Well, I am so thrilled to say that it is not a don't meet your heroes scenario. Meaning, I hyped this car up so much in my mind that now driving it, I'm not let down. It does all the things that I want it to do. 305 is a perfect amount of horsepower. It's definitely enough to have fun with. It's definitely enough to get in trouble with, but it's also not overbearing. It's not this Thor's hammer hanging over your head. It's so drivable and it's so engaging, and it's also very communicative. I know when it's gonna slip out. I know when it's gonna grip. And that's the way that you build a relationship. You build a relationship off of fundamentals like communication, like confidence, like trust. If you don't have those three things, you have nothing at all. And that's what this car gives me. I trust this car. I have faith in this car. Even in these slippery, awful conditions that can be unpredictable, this is the one thing that is predictable. And honestly, now it's just so sad that we don't get a vehicle like this from Subaru. A vehicle that's so alive like this. Sure, they have the BRZ, but really that's because it's a joint venture with Toyota. If they didn't go in with Toyota, they wouldn't produce that car. It's not a big money maker for them. And they don't have an STI version of the WRX right now. So we are without something to fill this. And that is sad. I think there's a missing piece in the world today. And that piece is the Subaru WRX STI. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ben for letting me borrow his WRX STI for today's video. He is absolutely wonderful. I also reviewed his Focus ST here today, and we have a couple other shoots planned. Super down to earth, super fun to chat with, and I appreciate him for letting me take it out, especially here in these harsh conditions. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.